WNBA has been around a couple of decades. They're noticing it now. Well, that's because of Caitlin Clark, not Angel.
The women's professional basketball sphere recently erupted into absolute chaos, with a prominent sports broadcaster planted firmly at the epicenter of the blast. The veteran commentator unleashed a fiery critique directed at the Chicago forward, a verbal assault that the young athlete absolutely refused to absorb quietly. Before unraveling this magnificent turmoil, eager spectators are urged to endorse the channel, ensuring not a single unpredictable twist escapes their radar. This narrative demands absolute attention. Returning to the spectacular collapse, a comparative glance at both these phenomenal athletes reveals a stark contrast. The Chicago standout boasts immense talent, yet she fundamentally operates on an entirely different, lower echelon than the electrifying Indiana phenomenon commanding the hardwood. The reality remains undeniable. The seasoned analyst bypassed subtle critiques completely, instead plunging the rookie forward into an inescapable void of overwhelming public scrutiny. Concurrently, the legendary Iowa product continues executing her lethal craft flawlessly, asserting absolute dominion over the painted area and the perimeter alike. The truth stands undisputed. This phenomenal sharpshooter transformed a struggling league into essential viewing, ruthlessly amassing points, obliterating historical benchmarks, and producing cinematic performances nightly. Conversely, her fierce rival across the league was spotted throwing visible tantrums, desperately attempting to snatch back fragments of the fleeting public attention. The entire spectacle resembled an uninvited guest, aggressively hijacking a microphone during a legendary musician's grand performance, radiating intense, uncomfortable energy. Consequently, any manufactured debate collapses instantly. The Indiana guard cemented the ultimate rookie crown, while the Chicago forward remains merely a highly skilled participant. Undeniably, she exerts tremendous effort defensively and offensively. However, the prestigious first-year accolade eludes her, a harsh reality the broadcaster fiercely broadcasted to the masses. The commentator unleashed relentless fury, pledging unwavering allegiance to the record-breaking guard, ultimately subjecting her rival to a beautifully brutal public decimation. As the premier shooter conquers the league, her counterpart visibly stumbles. Truthfully, the bold analyst merely articulated the precise sentiments terrified fans dared not vocalize. Reacting violently, the Chicago rookie lost her composure entirely, launching retaliatory remarks and dramatically airing her deep-seated grievances directly to the ravenous media. In stark contrast, the generational talent maintained icy composure, allowing pure athletic brilliance to silence doubters. The veteran host's verbal dismantling proved deafening, fearless, and remarkably raw. A brutal dose of reality was absolutely necessary. Ultimately, launching attacks against transcendent icons inevitably strips away any shield protecting the instigator from severe consequences. The outspoken forward received that precise, devastating consequence in full measure. Amidst her rival's spectacular emotional unraveling, the unstoppable guard orchestrated a masterpiece against the Atlanta franchise, plunging the entire athletic community into profound disbelief. On September 8, 2024, the Indiana squad secured a breathtaking 104-100 overtime victory, entirely orchestrated by their star. The prodigy amassed 26 points, distributed 12 masterful passes, and effortlessly secured her 14th two-category statistical triumph of the campaign, shattering an organizational benchmark as if casually stretching her limbs. Those concluding seconds radiated absolute sorcery. With the contest teetering precariously and tension reaching stratospheric levels, the fearless shooter approached the charity stripe with chilling tranquility. Absent of any visible anxiety or trembling doubt, the lethal scorer delivered 4 flawlessly executed strikes. Within that terrifying crucible, the prodigy proved unequivocally that during desperate crises, her leadership binds the roster. Thousands roared in manic ecstasy upon her every singular touch. Surrounding athletes became mere witnesses to greatness. Paralyzed opposition forces wandered aimlessly, completely bewildered while attempting to track the phantom-like marksman maneuvering through traffic. A stubborn faction continues resisting the phenomenon's undeniable magnetism, with her fiercest adversary leading the charge, fiercely guarding the gates of her own bitter opposition. As adoring masses shower the generational shooter with unending praise, her disgruntled rival remains obsessively focused on forcefully demanding her own fragment of international recognition. However, this particular campaign offered no cinematic triumphs for the fierce rebounder. Witnessing her nemesis achieve immortality proved agonizing for a fiery personality accustomed to monopolizing attention. A cavernous, undeniable void separates their respective athletic outputs. The unstoppable floor general dictates everything, executing miraculous daggers and shifting paradigms, whereas the embattled forward navigated a turbulent campaign defined primarily by frustrating adversity and difficult internal growth. Surprisingly, vicious detractors relentlessly attack the reigning superstar. Regardless of whether racial dynamics or blinding media saturation fuel their endless hatred, a singular truth emerges triumphant. The transcendent Indiana prodigy unequivocally reigns as the supreme, utterly captivating centerpiece of professional women's basketball today. Historically, the sport lingered in profound obscurity. Suddenly, global audiences are fiercely paying attention, an explosive phenomenon driven entirely by the shooting maestro, completely bypassing her fierce adversary. The harsh reality dictates that the rebounding specialist possesses zero magnetic stylistic traits capable of enchanting casual spectators unfamiliar with the broader professional women's league. The unparalleled scorer allowed her lethal perimeter accuracy to silence the clamor. Truthfully, following every single breathtaking showcase of pure athletic sorcery she unleashed upon the hardwood, the desperate digital tirades launched by her bitter rival progressively deteriorated into tragic displays of immense, hollow futility. Following every buzzer, the astronomical disparity expanded exponentially, while the forward's seething resentment mutated into a catastrophic spectacle, violently conspicuous and absolutely incapable of being concealed. What invisible fire fuels the rival's intense fury? The underlying catalyst reveals itself with remarkable, undeniable transparency. Currently, devoted enthusiasts, seasoned experts, and passing observers intensely deliberate whether the phenomenal guard represents a temporary sensation or a catastrophic force destined to permanently obliterate league history. A dramatic revelation awaits those closely monitoring the situation. The indomitable sharpshooter possesses zero intention of fading into the fleeting shadows of momentary relevance. Her monumental legacy is permanently anchored. The generational talent bypassed merely disturbing the established order, choosing instead to violently invert the entire foundation of the sport. Furthermore, evaluating the historical metrics proves utterly terrifying. Those numerical achievements scream with greater ferocity than a frantic head tactician barking desperate orders mid-crisis. The visionary contemplated launching a deep three, ultimately electing to maneuver inside for a delicate finish. Those magical seconds immortalized the magnificent guard's inaugural professional scoring triumph. The transcendent prodigy's grand inauguration on May 14, 2024, miraculously magnetized an unprecedented 2 million mesmerized global spectators. The figures were breathtaking, millions of spectators tuned in. That broadcast shattered all previous network viewership records, an astonishing feat considering it was merely her professional debut. What an absolutely spectacular arrival she made. By May 21st, the clash against the Liberty captivated 1.71 million fans, establishing yet another historic viewership milestone. Truthfully, the moment her sneakers touch the hardwood, she effortlessly shatters broadcasting milestones without breaking a sweat. One must also remember that unforgettable August 28th showdown against the Atlanta Dream. 617,000 eyes watched that cable broadcast. For Caitlin, transforming an ordinary Tuesday evening into legendary primetime entertainment was just standard business. The star seemingly viewed the global astonishment as completely unwarranted and perfectly routine. Simultaneously, a prominent sports commentator launched a blistering critique at Angel Reese, while Caitlin continued her absolute reign, conquering the hardwood with ultimate authority. Which rising star truly earned the ultimate center stage, Angel or Caitlin? The debate rages on below. Audiences are encouraged to engage, follow the journey, and remain tuned in for upcoming spectacular professional women's basketball events.